Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be going over 3 ACT math questions. For all these problems, I recommend pausing the video and trying the problems yourself first before you see me solve them. Without wasting any time, let's get into it. Question 19 says, to increase the mean of 7 numbers by 3, by how much would the sum of the 7 numbers have to increase? So, this question is dealing with this formula where you have the total or your sum of the 7 numbers, right? You divide that by the number of numbers, which is 7, and you get your average or mean, right? So for this question, what I would do is I would pick a mean. So let's say the mean of the 7 numbers is, let's just call it 10, okay? And then it says to increase the mean of the 7 numbers by 3. So we want it to become 13. Want the mean to be 13. We can just use this formula. The sum of the 7 numbers over 7 equals the average mean, right? And we can just see the sum of the 7 numbers when the mean is 10. And then when the mean is 13, we can figure out the sum of the 7 numbers. If we subtract the sum of the 7 numbers when the mean is 10 from the sum of the 7 numbers when the mean is 13, we can figure out how much we should increase the sum of the 7 numbers by to increase the mean by 3. So sum of 7 numbers, okay? Divided by 7 equals our original mean, which is 10. So if we get the sum of the 7 numbers, we get 70, right? We multiply both sides by 7. We get 70. Now, let's do this with 13. Sum of 7 numbers, right? Divide by 7, but now this equals 13. Same thing, 13 times 7. That is 91. So when the mean increases by 3, the sum goes from 70 to 91. So to figure out how much you want to increase the sum of the 7 numbers, you just do 91 minus 70, and you get 21. So 19 is D. To question 24, which says, in the standard XY coordinate plane below, triangle ABC is bounded by AB, AC, and the y-axis. Which of the following values is closest to the area in square coordinates of triangle ABC? So for this question, you need to remember to find the area of a triangle. It's 1/2 base times height, right? The base, in this case, it's going to be this red line over here, right? And the height is going to be this green line. Okay. To find the base, you just want the distance from 0, 6 to 0, -8 from point B to point C. And since the x coordinate is the same, it's just 0, the distance between the 2 points It's just the difference between the y coordinates, -8 and 6, right? The absolute value of that. So it's going to be, let's do -8 minus 6. The absolute value of that, it's -14. The absolute value of -14 is 14. So the distance between the 2 points, it is 14. And it's the absolute value because distance always has to be positive. It can never be negative. Now, for the height, the thing to realize is we know this point, anything on the red line, the x-coordinate is going to be 0, right? The x-coordinate here it's going to be 0 at that point. At this point, the x-coordinate is going to be 0. At this point, the x-coordinate is going to be 0. So anywhere on this red line, the x-coordinate is 0. So now if you notice that our height, right, the green line, the y-coordinate, it appears to be the same for the 2 points. So that means we want this y-coordinate to be 2. And the distance from 0, 2 to 5, 2, it's just 5, right? So that means our height is 5. Now we know our height, and now we know our base. So we can just do 1/2 times base, 14, times the height, 5. 14 times 5 is 70. 70 times 1/2 is 35. This matches answer choice H, and that's how you do this problem. On to the last question, question 36, which says the equation y equals f of x is graphed in the standard xy coordinate plane below, and which of these functions define f of x? So for this problem, you need to realize that, well, first, we're dealing with a piecewise function, right? A piecewise function is exactly how it sounds. It's just a function that has different pieces. So let's look at what's happening in the graph, right? So for x values less than -2, so everything before this, it looks like your y values, they are 5, right? They're consistently 5. As it approaches, so as x approaches -2 from the left side, as the x values approach -2 from the left side, the y value is consistently 5. Then it looks like -2 and the y value is 3, right? And then as the x values go away from -2 and approach infinity, they appear to be consistently 2. So basically, y equals 5 when x is less than -2, right? When y is 3 when x is -2, and then y is 2 when x is greater than -2. So we should be looking for this in our answer choices. And let's look at the first one. This actually does match answer choice F, right? This does not match answer choice G because there is no greater than or equal to sign. If this was a greater than or equal to sign, then there would be a closed dot here. A closed dot represents equal to. That means you include that point, right? But since it's an open dot, it's just 5 for x less than -2. So it's not G. Same thing with H. At this point, there's an open dot. J doesn't work either because of the same thing. And K, it says 5 for x equals -2, but we know that's not true because when x is -2, it's actually 3. The y values are 5 when x is approaching -2 from the left side, right? And that's what we have in answer choice F. I hope my explanations made sense, and thank you for watching.